What is up, guys? Welcome to another live session. Today is December 18th, 2019, and we're back at again on the charts for another trading session. And today is a very important day globally and worldwide. Today, for those that don't know, today is the impeachment vote for Donald Trump. What it basically is today starting at 9 a.m. I think till maybe 6 p.m. in the evening, they're going to be doing basically a kind of a 6 hour plus discussion and debate on the two articles of impeachment. And so the judicial committee that's running this vote, if they accept both articles of impeachment, Donald Trump will be impeached. And impeached does not mean removed out of the office. So and it is likely that he will get impeached today. What it means is basically his role as acting president could be terminated. The reason is the keyword is could, because what could happen is first the judicial committee decides whether they want to accept the articles for impeachment and move forward. They can also throw the case out and move on. So if they accept it, the case goes to the Senate, okay? And the Senate is the one that actually decides if Trump gets removed from office or not. And I'm looking at an article right now. The probability of that happening is very low because the Senate is composed of 53 Republicans, which is Trump's party, 45 Democrats. And in order for Trump to actually get removed out of the office, you need 2/3 of that total amount of people to vote against him. So you need at least 20 Republicans to turn on Trump. And then we're just going to look at this article. So what is the likelihood of Senate convicting Trump? It's low. House Republicans have displayed remarkable unity during the impeachment process. None of them are expected to vote for impeachment. And if you look, it would take mass defection by members of his own party is what it would take to convict Trump and move him from office. 20 of the 53 Republican senators would need to join all Democratic voting senators to reach the 2/3 supermajority of the Constitution, which requires for impeachment. So they have counted 14 people who've expressed some level of concern with Trump's behavior on the Ukraine policy, but there are only 3 senators who have a track record of speaking for that. And so later today, you'll see a lot of people that don't really know the situation or don't know politics being like, oh my God, Trump's being impeached, he's not going to be president anymore. No. If he gets impeached today, quote unquote impeached, what that means is just the impeachment case is moving to Senate. He's still acting president until they finally convict him and remove him out. So the case moving to Senate is pretty likely. Him getting removed as acting president is unlikely. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because it's obviously going to affect the dollar. When the impeachment inquiry was talked about, when it was first brought up by Nicole Pelosi, I believe, on September 24th, 2019, I think that's the date, the dollar gained against everyone. We saw just the dollar rocket against USD CHF. EURUSD fell by like 200 pips. It was pretty crazy. And it's not really certain how impeachment can affect dollar strength. It could drive dollar strength, could do worse, but because Trump is kind of pro-business, he's a businessman, and the recent U.S. data that came out shows that they won't be needing any further rate cuts. It may be likely that an impeachment inquiry later today that's confirmed, and then him getting convicted could weaken the dollar. It's all speculation. These events rarely happen. Only, I think, 3 presidents or 2 presidents got successfully convicted and removed from office. Bill Clinton, I think, some Andrew something. But with that being said, it's a rare event, but it's a possibility for us right now in the next 2 months. So the trial will be held in January. So it's going to be a process. It's not going to be like impeachment vote today, get the hell out tomorrow. It's a whole process. So maybe by the end of January we know what's up. But who knows? maybe they throw their impeachment case out today, and we don't have to worry about it. But if you're holding any trades, thankfully we're not holding any trades right now. The dollar could be affected later today. Usually at 6 p.m., 7 p.m. Eastern, that's when they will kind of release the consensus. But I thought I'd talk about that. So with that being said, let's check out. Let's get the chat open because it takes some people to get ready to go in. What's up? Hey, Derlin, are you trading Bitcoin? I think you were asking about Bitcoin. Looking good, looking good. CAD yen, I'll look at CAD yen. And alright, cool. So I just wanted to quickly take a look at Euro. I wanted to talk about this at the end of the video. So today's lesson at the end of the video is going to be how to trade a trendline break setup. Because there's a lot of ways to get faked out, but there's one really proven, quote unquote, best way to trade trendline breaks, and I'll talk about that. But EURUSD is still being capped by resistance, and we can see the trendline that we drew has been broken on the 4-hour time frame. The daily looks pretty bearish right now. You can see a nice bearish reaction like we have in the past. And so, a candle closure outside of this trend line to confirm would probably let us know that we're going lower. A definite closure below this horizontal array, 1.11 thousand, and we're definitely getting the floodgates back down to 1.10 thousand. So 100 pips could be made. It is Wednesday, so I think the impeachment query might just kind of delay this stuff, and it is the last week of 2019 to trade. So we might have this set up, we might not, but thankfully pound USD brought the goods. So since you asked for CAD yen, I actually saw a setup for pound yen that I might want to take, and also USD yen. So if we're going to take one setup, might as well take the other three. Obviously, if the fundamental technicals agree. So USD yen, the USD crazy. Pound yen, however, does look like a nice long-term swing short from the weekly time frame. You can see our previous target when we tried to swing long pound yen, 147.900 was pretty much met to the pip. And I mean, there's so many goodies that are given in these sessions that I don't even use in the pip count, but hopefully you guys are making use of it. Anyways, with that being said, from this level, right, 147.900, we do have some sort of trading range. I'm gonna highlight that because apparently these levels are hard to see when someone's on mobile. But why is it red? I think I know it's red. Our developer Igor Georgie, he was on the charts earlier. He made a nice video on Bitcoin and just trading using indicators. I'll definitely share that later in the day. But we're trying to target this trading range, right? So currently rebounding from here. We're trying to target this trading range. And if you see, we're kind of already halfway there, which is fine. What we can do is use our Fibonacci tool to get on the next retrace down. And this would be a good setup to take, especially since we kind of know what the pound is looking like moving forward. It is having a bearish sentiment on the weekly time frames for the pound USD and the pound yen. So let me just see what the fibs say on the smaller time frames. If there's something, we'll take it. If not, no problem. So our last swing high to our current swing low. Okay, so yeah, we could see a potential retrace back to the 38.2 fib level, and then maybe look for some rejection here to go lower. Alternatively, we can just look at the recent price action. Let me actually go to the hourly time frame. Every time I go live, I get hiccups. It's weird. Let's do this. So this was, the kind of support we used before the Boris Johnson election results. Okay, before he won it. So this is probably the next major level that we're looking for. So in all actuality and best practice, it's best to just kind of sit this part of the trade out, because you can see we had huge bearish momentum here. And then if you look at these recent candlesticks, these past 4 8-hour candlesticks, indecision candle, hammer, indecision candle, hammer. So it is looking like it might make a rally up. So if for some reason sellers do come down and force us below this previous support, then we can target that previous trading range we discussed. But that's the thought process. And on the weekly time frame, 1 second. On the weekly time frame, there's a much larger trade to target. That is being from here all the way to down here, and even lower. So definitely enough pips to be made, and obviously it's the last week. So I mean, pound dollar was great, phenomenal. Too bad I was studying, but for those that took it, you should be in good shape right now. Let me look at CAD yen for you, Derlin. Whoa. Ooh, CAD yen is going for the races. And I think CAD had some good data today. Yeah, so CAD had some pretty nice CPI data, and we can see that on the charts right now. So, oh, CAD is pretty interesting. So, we looked at CAD top to bottom, I think at the start of maybe December. And we drew this trend line dating back to 2014. We have a clear first touch, clear second touch, a previous rally into resistance, came back down, and then we created an ascending channel, which we were trying to trade the breakout because we wanted to trade with the trend, but we kind of consolidated and finally broke out. So let's kind of zoom in here and see what has happened on just on the weekly time frame. You can see a clear break of the trend line. We had a bullish candle break and a confirmation candle. So it is looking like a shift in sentiment. Now what we have to look for is these levels right here, which we are pretty close to, which have acted as resistance in the past. This is about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 to 8 weeks that this level was used as resistance. And that is 84.160. So Derlin, if you wanted to trade CAD yen, maybe long, I think on a smaller time frame, there's probably an entry to capture this part of the setup. But we can see the next target is 84.160, and that's about 60 pips away. So we'll take a look on the daily time frame to see if there is a chance to go long, because if we look at these previous highs right here, it is some resistance. So we might have seen that resistance actually get broken and retested on the smaller time frame, and in that case it makes sense to enter now. But let's check out the daily. Okay, so on the daily you can see we had the break above this trend line, and then we had the retest on small time frame. And this is a nice confirmation candle because it engulfs the previous closes, the highs, and so it is looking like we're gonna most likely go to 84.16. Bless me. Yeah, so definitely a long, but the entry is obviously not ideal right now. You obviously don't want to enter after a significant move has passed. But what were your thoughts on CAD yen, Derlin, so I can kind of see what you were seeing, and just kind of get an over idea of what you're looking for. But this was the last high for CAD yen right here, back in October 20th of October, and we clearly closed above that high. So maybe there is a potential to get the 60 pips. 1 hour. Let's see what the 1 hour has for us. So currently the 1 hour. This was the previous high in October. We had a nice bearish closure above. Currently we're kind of getting pushed by some sellers, obviously because we're near some resistance. And so what I want, and this is going to be very simple, just this candle to maybe come back down here, back to this level, and then a candle to close above this previous high. Not wick, but close. So look for this, Derlin. This candle to come here, touch that, and give a rejection candle, a bullish candle like this. This is a bullish candle. This is a bullish candle. If you get that sort of rejection and that candle's body, the body of the candle, closes above this level, 83.626, you have a nice long setup, and this is what I'd be targeting for my long setup in terms of stop loss. So entry would be, I don't know, somewhere here. Final take profit 84,160. Stop loss is just below these previous lows, and if you look, it was a previous resistance here. So this is how I determine my signals. We can see a nice level here, previous resistance. When we pushed above that resistance, we came back and retested it. So this is our previous, going with the trend. So this is a good way to trade. As you can see, pretty nice bull run here, and we can definitely get in on this. Morning Igor, what's up? So yeah, right now sellers are kind of just driving it back up. I just want a retrace of some sort, maybe from here to here, but I just want us to revisit 83.525 one more time and get that rejection, and that's what I mean by rejection, is that after you break a level, the rejection candle, the body should close above that wick. That's a confirmation of continuing momentum. So that's CAD yen. I think I'm being sick again. I want to talk about crude oil and gold. So gold was a pending setup, and remember I always tell you guys, please do not use sell stops. Just do not use them. And so this setup for gold was initially here on Tuesday's session. Okay, actually Monday's session we analyzed it, and Tuesday we said a break below 1472 would take us lower. And on Tuesday's session, I told you guys that, hey, don't use sell stops, because you can see price wicked all the way to 1470.5 and then continued going up. And this is what happens when you use sell stops. You're gonna get burnt. This is why the candle closure is always important for verifying a trade setup, and I can't stress it enough. Please do not use pending limits. Just can't. Last resort, if you have to, but when you don't need to, and that's probably 90% of the time, don't do it. So because this happened today, this happened yesterday, and look what happened today. Gold once again wicked below 1472 and wicked back up. So you can see where our stop loss is. Here we would have got stopped out. Here we got stopped out. That's 2 trades lost on gold if you use sell limits. So that's why always wait for that bearish closure. In yesterday's session, I talked about what a bearish closure is. I pretty much talk about it in every session, but make sure you watch yesterday's session in particular, where I kind of show examples. And this setup is still valid. This resistance is holding pat. So that's a good sign for us, but I think this impeachment inquiry is really just driving these 1 hour candles. This is 50 pips one way in 1 hour. This is almost 100 pips in 2 hours, and so it's pretty chaotic right now, but that's the type of day it is and the type of week it will be. So yeah, well, not the type of week it will be, because it's going to be pretty quiet, but the impeachment inquiry really spiked things up. But that's an update on gold. It's still pending. Euro is still pending. And crude oil, another similar example of why bearish or bullish closures are important, and not just the actual price point. So here is crude oil, and during yesterday's session, I talked to you guys about a daily candle closing above these levels, and the level in particular was these previous highs, right? We want a a bullish candle closure, and if you look on the 4 hour, we're currently right at that level, but we did not get it during yesterday's session. So I'm just trying to, I hate how TradingView doesn't auto scale, but this was yesterday's session where the idea was given. So you can see this was the break of the level, right? Resistance is here. This was the break of resistance. Price went as high as 61.04 per barrel. And then these candles just retested. What we wanted from, this was a retest, this was a retest. Maybe, any of these rejection candles, the body should have closed above this wick. It's that simple. Now looking to the left, we can see once again, we have no body closure above this level right here. The end of this wick, there's zero body closure that's bullish above this level, and that's why this long setup, although it is still valid, it has not become activated. And once again, please do not use pending orders, especially when you don't have to, because you can get burnt. Because if you used it here, you're probably going to get burnt because it might go lower. Who knows, and you might get lucked out and it might continue to go up, but you always want to be safe. Just a quick reminder, the final target for crude oil is around 63.00, so pretty awesome. And the CAD data should help. You can see the reaction from earlier, so maybe, it does start to play out, but half the week's already over. And with that being said, I'm going to look at some crypto, just because that's what we're going to be doing now. And people like to see crypto. And then, it's a nice change of pace. And then we're going to talk about how to actually trade a trend line break and get a setup out of it and not get faked out. So let's look at crypto. The ones we focus on right now, unless you guys have other recommendations, is Bitcoin and Tezos. And so Bitcoin. So yesterday, Bitcoin, yikes, Bitcoin went to our first target. Cool. Perfect. Daily time frame. This is how we usually analyze Bitcoin. And yesterday's session, we were somewhere here. We were pretty much close to 6,800, which is our first target. Our next one was 6,500. And we went to, our exact level was 6,520. We went to as low as 6,425, and currently, we have some rebounding, printing an indecision candle. So Bitcoin still looks pretty good. The daily could obviously be better. Might just be a minor retrace. We'll see what the fibs talk about, but this level is so important, man. You can see just the type of reaction. Huge reaction from this level, and it just goes to show you that our levels aren't arbitrarily chosen, they're methodically chosen. And this could also be due to the impeachment inquiry. So I do think that if the impeachment inquiry goes through and Trump is quote-unquote impeached today and the case passes to Senate, we may see a rise in Bitcoin, just because he's been an avid hater of Bitcoin, and the dollar will probably see momentary weakness. And so crypto prices may drive up, and we may see a revisit, and I hope we don't, but to 7,200, just off volatility and speculation. But when you look at the grand scheme of things from a daily time frame, it still looks pretty bearish. This just might be a reaction to the impeachment inquiry, maybe some consolidation here before we continue going lower. But wish it just went to 6,000 already. Come on, stop playing games. XTZ USD, otherwise known as Tezos. It's a Coinbase. Nice. So, man, crypto is so easy to analyze technically. It's ridiculous. So Tezos, first idea that I published and talked about was going to this blue region, and we went pretty damn close. We touched it and then kind of reverted back. $1.86 to $1.90. We got that, and then during yesterday's session, we had this kind of bearish reaction, and I expected us to go to $1.50, a nice psychological level. So you can see by the arrow, and we went there, and we're currently consolidating. And so I told you guys at this point, you gotta look for maybe some sort of bearish reaction. So this is a nice, pretty good. I keep saying bearish, bullish. A nice bullish reaction. So this is a nice bullish hammer, but we do want some sort of bullish engulfing candle to kind of just drive prices back up. Any bearish closure below this level, and we're headed probably back down to $1.25-ish. And once again, you can see we wicked there, but we did not get that closure, and that's always important. So pretty dope Tezos. And this price action strategy works for any sort of market, in my opinion. Some better than others. And if you see crypto, we don't read any crypto fundamentals, and we've been pretty much spot on since we started looking at them. That's the type of clarity you're gonna get, and it's great. So quick peek at the chat. I went long on CAD. Nice. You made $35. That is dope. Amazing. Nice. I love to see that. It just made my day. I think we're all fine and dandy. Now I guess I'll kind of transition into talking about the topic of the day, quote unquote. And I need some Kleenex. 1 second, guys. It's that time of the year. Okay. Yeah, so let's go to EURUSD. Okay. And how I'll start this video is off. Actually, I'll redraw the actual trend line. I'm gonna remove these arrows. But damn, nice. You made 35 bucks off CADJPY, and that's amazing. I'm very happy for you. So how do you trade a trendline break, and how do you get a setup out of it and avoid being faked out? So trendline breaks are pretty nice tools that people use to trade, and we use them from time to time in our live sessions and our strategy. And so there are ways that you can get faked out and get burnt. It's obviously done by a lot of novice traders, but there is one method to kind of limit that and get the best possible trade on a trendline break. So first thing you need to do is obviously get your pair in mind. We already have our levels drawn out perfectly, and now we're going to go to the time frame where we want to draw the trend line. So on the 4-hour, we see an opportunity to draw a trend line, and the trend line is drawn by connecting a series of wicks. Usually more than 2. Ideally, you want 3. Okay, so we can see we have a nice first touch, second touch, third touch, and Euro has recently come off resistance, printing an evening star or a shooting star, and has officially broke out of resistance on the 4-hour time frame. You can see clear breakout of the trend. And this current candle, a few minutes ago, maybe 20 minutes ago, was actually more bullish. So it was actually, the body was probably up around here. And so when it comes to trend line breaks, the best way to kind of avoid getting faked out, because what could happen is you could have a break of the trend line and then a candle come up and immediately close back within the trend line. And what this will do is on the higher time frame, it will just look like that price respected the trend line. But when you go to the small time frames, you'll see that price actually broke out, but buyers bought it back in. So for example, in the downtrend, sellers broke it down, buyers bought it back in, and we might go higher. So the best way to avoid this is not to trade the initial break, is to actually trade the break, retest, and rejection of that level, and use that with confluences like support and resistance and swing lows, and you're in business. So for EURUSD, for example, what you want to do first off is identify the lows of the trend. So this is our uptrend. This was our first low right here. We have a support pretty close to that, so this will be our final take profit. The next low is over here, so this would be one of our take profit levels right here. And you can also adjust these to closer levels of activity, and we'll do that after. And then the next touch was somewhere around here, right? And you can see a lot of activity, so that's a good level. So perfect. Now we have our 3 touches of the trend line, 1, 2, 3, and then we have our break. Now the next thing we want to do is get another confirmation that we're going lower, because I know you probably seen it many times where you have a break of a trend line, it consolidates and then continues on its trend up. And the reason why is trend lines are also based on subjectivity. So if you ever notice, you can sometimes draw a trend line like this, and then sometimes like this, extended out as price moves a little bit downward, but it's still an uptrend. So the best way to avoid that is to get a clear shift in a trend. And one of the best ways to do that is identify the previous significant low of the trend. So we can see our lower high here, our higher high, higher low, higher high, and then we had a higher low in and around this area, which we're currently stalling at. And so this is a level we got to make sure we close below in a bearish manner. and we can see we also have this previous low here. So just to kind of make these two lows into one level, I'm just going to move this horizontal array up to capture both, because you can see our lows are pretty close, and if you look to the left, it was also some nice resistance. Perfect. So now how do I not get stopped out or faked out on this trade? Well, currently we are retesting this trend line, and it's looking pretty good. Sellers are driving price down. The next candle we wanted to close bearish below this level. We wanted to close bearish below 111,000. Okay, 1.11,000, a nice psychological. That's what we're going to be looking for. And once we get that, since we have our take profit levels down, I'll actually plot the trade setup. So our bearish, closure could be somewhere down here, and so we're gonna, get our take profit levels like that. And now the next important question is, where should my stop loss be? And it's very simple. The trend line makes it very simple. Your stop loss should be somewhere within the trend line that makes sense. So for example, over here is probably a good spot, but if you look to the left, we do have some resistance here, right? We have a lot of wicks activity in this price point. So we get another horizontal array and plot that down, and then give our stop loss just some breathing room in case it does come back and wicks through this and then goes lower. We won't get stopped out. So this is the overall setup from a trend line break and using the rest of our price action strategy. A 2.0, basically risk reward setup, and it's pretty damn good. So this is a setup we've been eyeing. We're just waiting for that entry, and hopefully we'll get it later in the day or maybe tomorrow. So that's how you trade a trend line break without getting faked out and getting a high probable setup. With that being said, guys, this will be the end of today's session. I am RP Forex. Please be safe today. I am logging off. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Peace and happy trading.